welcome to Tina's Yoga Room. Tina here, BFF / quarantine buddy / husband Al, joining for class today. So subscribers, thanks for coming back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today's class is going to be a really nice, easy to follow yoga flow. So we're going to start in this kneeling position with the hips back on the heels, and if this isn't at all comfortable for you, you can find a simple crisscross of the shins. The hands can rest down on the thighs, or you create this mudra with one hand on top of the other, creating a little bowl. Let the shoulders rest down and away from the ears. Lift the crown of the head to the ceiling. And take some slow breaths here. Allowing yourself to step away from whatever part of the day you are in, into this space on your mat for you to freely breathe and move. Listen to your surroundings. And for this next pose, we're going to lift the hips just a bit off of the heels. Let the heels shift over towards the right, and then you come and sit down. So you have asymmetry in the hips. You'll feel that right hip be a little bit higher. Let's take a breath in to sweep those arms up. And then an exhale, bring hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep those arms up, and we'll take it one step further. Left hand to the ceiling, right hand circles it, inhale up, and exhale, take a dive right. So feel this length being created along the left side body, but check in that the right ear isn't falling onto the arm. Instead, let the left ear press to the left arm. Then come back to center, hands separate, and exhale, twist left. Right hand comes down to the leg, and that left arm is going to reach all the way back to the mat behind you. Use the inhales to sit nice and tall, and the exhales to twist. And then reface forward. Come all the way onto your hands and knees. And we'll step back to first downward facing dog. So the hips are going to lift up towards the ceiling. And you might feel tightness in the backs of the legs. So bend the knees and then let one heel drop to the mat at a time. You can add the hips swaying one side and the other as well. Explore some movements in the sides of the legs as well as the backs of the legs. And take a breath or two without any movement. Let the heels spin out of your line of vision. The hips are lifted high, and that might mean you've got bend in the knees. And let's take a gaze forward. We're going to walk the feet top of the mat and let the feet find about hips width distance. Bend the knees as much as needed to let the hands come down to the mat, and the hands are pretty much in front of the feet. Let's take the left hand to the small of your back so that elbow lifts up to the ceiling. Now straighten as much as you can through that left leg as the right knee finds deep bend, and then take a gaze towards the left. You can stay here with the arm or let that left arm float up to the ceiling. Look down, both hands to the mat as you bend the knees again. Give the head a little shake. And then to the other side. So right hand, small of back, try to lift that elbow up, and you straighten that right leg as the left one bends deeper. And if you went further, right arm up. Look down, hands to the mat. You can pedal those feet out a bit. And then with your next inhale, let's come up to standing. Let the arms draw a big circle up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center, as well as bringing those toe mounds into touch, keeping a little space at the heels. Let's take those hands, basket them behind the head. And really press the head into the hands so you have a nice long spine. We're going to keep the interlace, let the whole basket fall towards the left. So the only thing now at the back of the head is the right elbow. It'll look a little something like this. Now let's take a standing inhale, and on the exhale, just tip over towards the left. So you've got a nice opening for your right side now. And if you want to take it a little further with strength, you bend into the knees to add a chair pose. Inhale, center, straight arms, straight legs, and then exhale, we'll take the fold down. Inhale, let's find your high plank pose. Now your high plank pose could be knees lowered down towards the mat. Breath in here, exhale, glide forward, elbows bend for low plank. Straighten the arms, heart forward for your upward facing dog, and then exhale those hips high, downward facing dog. You might find some more movements in this down dog, but eventually setting into stillness. Now let's lower the knees down to the mat and let those feet shift to the left as you sink the hips right down. So we're finding that asymmetrical hip shape. One circle of the arms up overhead. Exhale those hands to heart center. The second one we add on, inhale up. Now it's the right palm to the ceiling, left hand circles up and inhale. Exhale, dive to the left. Again, gravity wants to let that head rest on the left arm, but keeping the spine in alignment, you're more lifting the ear towards the right arm. Back to center, hands will separate, and we'll take your twist to the right. So that left hand comes down, and the right hand all the way back behind you. Sit up tall with your inhales, and twist with your exhales. And then we'll come face forward again. Roll yourself forward, pass through a tabletop, and then let those toes tuck under and the hips go high, downward facing dog. Keep those fingers spread nice and wide and try to press the base of the thumb and the index finger down because it's likely a lot of the weight is pressing towards the pinky side of the hand. Now bend the knees a lot, look forward, and this time you're stepping the feet to touch. So you bring the toe mounds together, space at the heels, release the chin to fold. Next inhale, you'll come all the way up, reach the arms, and exhale, hands to heart center. Let's take that opposite side lean. So we basket the hands behind the head again. Try to have that opposite thumb on top to build symmetry. Press the head back, and now we're just gonna let the arms fall over towards the right. So it's that left elbow that's holding the head in place. Breath in tall, exhale, side lean right. So feel the stretch along the outside of hip, up the ribs, under the arm. And you can add the chair pose by bending the knees if you took that. Focus on keeping the chin slightly lifted. Inhale, center, straight arms, straight legs, and exhale to take that fold. Step back to find your high plank pose. So again, you can lower the knees down if you would like, otherwise keep them lifted the whole time. Glide forward, bend elbows only halfway, low plank. Now it's upward facing dog, so you're pressing the toenails down into the mat, and downward dog, exhale. Let's float that right leg into the air. And you can let the hips swing open. So you're stacking that right hip on top of left, bend into the knee, and really focus on lifting that knee up. You can circle the ankle. And then prepare to step forward by straightening that leg, looking forward, and then landing right foot inside right thumb. That left heel will stay lifted, and you might even wiggle that foot back. Bend into your front knee and take it all the way up to your high lunge. We're going to do some dynamic work here. So straighten this front leg, take a twist to the right, and let those arms open out like a T shape. Then you'll face forward again and bend into that lunge, hands to heart center. So inhale, straighten the leg, arms sweep up. Exhale, straight legs, you take that twist. Inhale, face forward. And exhale, rebend, hands to heart center. Inhale, straighten and reach. Exhale, twist. Inhale, forward. And exhale, bend. Take a pause here and then take a lean out. So we're getting a little bit more core strength. Feel free to keep hands here or reach them out in front of you for a little more energy. Breath in, come up, high lunge, arms overhead. Drop that back heel, visit your warrior two for a moment, and then we'll straighten your front leg. Flip that front palm and the right arm up, left hand down to reverse your triangle. Again, head is not leaning back. Bring that right ear closer to the arm. Now we're going to come back to warrior two by bending that front knee. Side angle, reach out as far as you can. Right elbow to thigh. And now the left arm is up and over to get into your left side body. Keep that pinky side of the left foot grounded. So you want to try to lift the inner arch of that left foot. And then inhale takes you back up to your warrior two. And exhale, hands to hips. Straighten that right knee and let the right toes face in. So you've got parallel feet. Now kick the heels in. So we're going to set up for a goddess pose. Hands can stay at hips for a moment. Then you'll bend into the knees. Do just a little surf side to side to make sure you've got nice distance between the feet and height of the hips. Then basket hands behind the head. Again, press the head back into the arms, but relax the shoulders. Take an inhale, and an exhale, a little lean towards the right. Inhale, let's come back to center, lighten up on those toes, and exhale, lean left. Inhale, exhale right, inhale, exhale left. Inhale, center, pause, sweep those arms up overhead, and then straighten hands to hips, straighten those legs. Have this left foot come in, so the toes are facing the side edge of the mat, and the right toes face forward. So we're setting up for your triangle pose. Arms will go wide. Again, glide out. Now that left hand goes up as that right hand slides inside the leg. Breath in pulls you all the way back up to standing, gaze forward. Rebend that front knee, and let's windmill the hands down to frame that foot. Drop that left knee down to the mat and untuck those back toes. So we're now in your low lunge. You might need to wiggle that foot wider and step it forward so the knee is over the ankle. Feel the hips go low and forward, and then come up elbows to that thigh. So we're working length in that left hip flexor. So you'll feel that space being created at the top of the hip, right at the top of the thigh. If you've got further to go, interlace those hands at the low back. Breath in, lift up, and on the exhale, let those arms drop back. Now, as you come forward, let's place those hands inside the right foot a little wider, and let those toes angle out towards the side. The hands are now going to walk over towards the left, so we're going the opposite direction of the foot and the knee. Now you can take this anywhere along the way. You can stay here, or you lower down to that left elbow and then reach that right arm away. The last piece could be allowing that right foot to pick up a bit, lifting the arch away from the mat. To walk it all back to center, those right toes can face forward again. Tuck the back toes under to lift off of that knee, and we'll step it back to your high plank pose. Now feel free to go straight to downward facing dog, or you glide forward a bit and take your low plank, and then upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Let's come forward to sit. So you can straighten the legs out in front of you, and then we're going to find a seated figure 4. So let's take a hold of this left ankle and let it rest on top of right thigh. This foot is going to stay actively flexed the whole time to help keep this left knee just safe and in alignment. So this next piece, feel free to take this anywhere along the way. Pause whenever you find your edge. Hands placed behind you. And notice we're sitting up nice and tall, so try not to collapse in here. And then you can take this right heel and pull it towards your body. And then you can just kind of wiggle it. The whole foot might be grounded, or maybe the toes are lifted. So this is that stretch and opening for the left outer hip now. Use the strength of that left hip to guide that left knee forward. Now we're going to take a twist to the right, because that could be as simple as turning the torso towards that foot, or you can lift up that left arm and then let it find somewhere along the sole of that left foot. Now we'll turn around to face forward again. So you could take one hand to the knee, one hand to the foot, and that's going to rely a lot more on your core to keep you upright, or you can keep the hands behind you. We're working towards a boat pose variation. So you take a little lean back, and whether hands are lifted or lowered, you could float that right foot. Then lower that foot down, both hands behind you again. Let's now have the fingertips face in, press this right foot down, lift those hips towards the ceiling. So don't let the head fling back. You're gonna keep it in alignment with the spine or tuck the chin. Both hips press higher, one more breath, and then sink those hips down. Straighten that right leg. Now let's take this left foot and land it on that right inner thigh. So now you've got your seated tree pose. And we'll take a counter twist. So turn over towards the left. You can take this right hand and place it on that left knee, and then take your exhale to twist. Now the right arm is going to reach up and back. You have the option to lift the hips as well, trying to press that right foot down into the mat and getting a nice opening for, again, the tops of the hips. And then we'll come sit and reface forward. So we keep that tree pose, and now we'll take the forward fold. So sitting up tall and facing the right big toe. Exhale to lean out and forward. And then take a walk back, sit up nice and tall. Let the left leg go, and you can give the knees a shake. Now let's come forward and make your way to downward facing dog. So that could mean through a vinyasa, or you just go hips high, downward facing dog. Let's let that left leg float into the air, three-legged dog. Let the hips swing open, bend the knee. Lift that knee higher, but you can circle out the ankle. And then look forward, straighten that leg, and let's step left foot inside that thumb. Preparing for high lunge, so you can wiggle the left foot wider and those right toes back, and then come all the way up, sweep those arms. We'll take it into a twist, so straighten that front leg. As you go left, those arms go nice and wide. Then let's face forward, arms up overhead. Bend the knee, hands to heart center. So really focusing on the balance. Inhale, straighten and sweep arms up. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lunge. Inhale up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, lunge. And then take that lean out. So you want a nice straight line from crown of head to back heel. And then up, arms up, back heel into your warrior two. And then let's get off that front leg by straightening. Flip front palm and reverse your triangle. Left arm up, right hand down. Again, bring the head closer to the left arm. Strong legs. And then as you come back to your warrior two by bending the knee, let's go further out, side angle. Left elbow to arm, to leg, right arm up and over. Back up to warrior two. And then hands at hips, straighten the front leg and dial those toes in. So once you have parallel feet with all 10 toes in, we'll then let the heels kick in. So we're setting up for that goddess pose, other side. Bend into the knees. Now the toes shouldn't be clawing to the mat. More weight rested in the heels, tailbone straight down, not that you're pressing the torso forward. So again, we'll basket the hands behind the head. But this time we'll take some cat-cows. So breath in to lift the chest up. And an exhale to curl in. Let the elbows come towards the face. Inhale, come up and open. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. Then come back to center. Let the arms go into this cactus bend. So true goddess pose. Strong legs, one more breath. And then hands to hips, straighten and give a nice sway to release. So setting up for your triangle pose, those left toes forward and the right foot needs to face the long edge of the mat. Arms go nice and wide. Glide out again. Left arm down as the right arm lifts up. The inhale takes you back up where you'll rebend front knee. And let's take it all the way down to pause. Left foot can heel step a little wider so you can drop the right knee down and untuck those back toes. So really let those hips go forward. Notice if you've come in with a 90-degree bend at that back knee, just see if you can let that leg go a little longer behind you to get more space and length at the top of that right thigh. Further, elbows up to that front thigh. Arms can go wide and interlace at the low back. Roll the shoulders down, lift the chest as the knuckles reach to the mat. Now as you come forward, the hands will come inside that left foot. Heel toe, left foot open so that the toes might even be off your mat. Now you walk the hands over towards the right. You can stay here getting that little twist added in, or you come down to the elbow of that right arm and then continue walking the left arm away. Gaze falls underneath you and you might also pick up the arch of left foot. Everything picks up to walk back to center, and those left toes reface forward. The back toes flip under so you can come off of that knee, and left foot steps back to plank pose. Exhale, low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now breathe here. Try to slow and steady the breath out. Come forward to sit. So now we'll have your right foot on that left ankle for that seated figure 4. Strong right ankle, and we're just letting that right knee fall down. So take this as far as you did on the first side. We'll start with hands resting behind you and sitting really tall, puffing the chest towards the ceiling. And then you can work on wiggling this left foot closer to your body. And again, using the strength of this right leg to press and guide the leg away from your body. Here's where we go for the twist. So you can just shift the shoulders to face the left, or the right arm picks up and can come across to the foot. And then you can release that hand back down. Working the figure 4 boat pose, hands can stay down, or one hand to knee, one hand to foot, still sitting tall. And then we can work on floating left foot. Don't forget to breathe. And then we'll drop the foot down, hands behind you, but then let the fingertips face in. So this will be a really nice release for the wrists. It could feel really tight on the shoulders, so you can come down if it's ever too much. Let's press this left foot down and then let the hips float up. Notice how that right hip might want to sag because the leg is heavy, so keep pressing that right hip to the ceiling. And then we'll come lower. The left leg will straighten, and then the right foot comes to the inner thigh. Sit up tall, and let's take a counter twist. So over towards the right, left hand can come to that thigh, and your gaze falls behind you. Now we'll take that optional hip lift. So keep that right hand down, the left arm lifts up and back, and then you could as well lift the hips. And then as you lower, you turn to face forward. We'll set up for the fold. So sit tall, face the toes, and then take a lean out. Now you don't have to worry about taking a hold of the foot. Something more like this could even be your forward fold, where you're focusing on staying nice and long, And over time, you may find the foot. And then we'll come all the way up and out of that and straighten that right leg. Give a shake to release out. Now let's come forward. So again, you can go right to your downward facing dog if you would like, or you would take a vinyasa, which would be plank to low plank, to upward dog, and then downward facing dog. Now let's come to sit again. And bring those feet to touch out in front of you. And bump the hips as close to the heels as you can get them. Now you can also have the hands rested behind you to sit up nice and tall. And then you focus on that core strength to keep you that tall, but then take a hold of the feet. Let's take a breath in here and a simple chin tuck. So chin falls towards the chest. You'll get some space in the upper back, the back of the neck. Just watch the breath rise and fall in your chest. Look forward on a breath in, and then imagine your heart could go beyond the feet as you take a forward fold. And then come up. Let's take a hold of the knees. We're going to come all the way down to your backs. Once you're down on your back, let the legs float into the air. Move around in the feet and the ankles and the toes. And then you can keep the hands really tucked in close to the body, or you might lift the hips a bit and kind of sit on your hands, because we're going to do some core work, some low abdominal strengthening. So let's keep the legs straight, but just let that right leg drop down to about a hover, so not quite touching the mat. And then let's lift that leg all the way back up. You really take your time. Let that left leg lower to a hover, and then lift that leg back up. So we're going to do that, but with the breath. So inhale, the legs up overhead. Exhale, that right foot to a hover. Inhale, bring right leg up. Exhale, left down. Inhale up, and we'll go one more each side. Exhale right, again, try not to rush. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up and pause. Now we're going to bend the knees, let the feet touch down. Hug that right knee in and let the left leg straighten completely. So we're going to take a half happy baby. Right foot faces the ceiling. Now you can take a hold of that thigh and keep drawing down, or you can take a hold of the foot. If you're able to, that left hand could release and help guide left leg down. So this is essentially the same shape we were in that low lunge. We were then reaching an arm out to the side. Now again, we'll just hug that right knee in, give it a squeeze. And then let that knee cross midline for a twist. I like to tuck my toes in the inseam of that left leg, and then gaze can go to the right. So you can let this right arm open up with a 90-degree bend, or you can straighten it off the side of the mat. And then come back to center, straighten that right leg. The hands can go behind the thigh. Press the heel to the ceiling. And as much as you want to pull that leg towards you, try to find straight arms. Pull the leg, but also press the leg into the hands. Really feel that activation. And then release that foot to the mat. Let's hug the left knee in, give it a nice squeeze, and straighten the right leg. So the half happy baby, left foot faces the ceiling. You can hold the thigh down, or you can take a hold of the foot. If you're able, that right hand can rest on the thigh. So this is a nice opener for the top of the right hip, as well as the back of the left leg. And then hug that knee in regular. Let's take the spinal twist. So maybe tucking those toes again, letting the knee go right. You gaze left, and again, the arm can find a bend or reach out to the side. And then face forward again. So we'll straighten that left leg into the air and hold behind the thigh. So heel is pressing up, leg is pressing forward, so you're not just pulling towards you, so you'll build that active flexibility. Now soften that knee and pull that right one in as well. So you've got both knees in, a rock side to side. Feel free to end class with a full happy baby, where you're taking a bend into both of the knees. And then we'll come into a few moments of Shavasana. So allow those legs to come nice and long, arms down by your sides. Close the eyes, find a comfortable shape for the body. And just enjoy this next few moments to yourself. Take a deeper breath. Move around in the ankles, the toes, the wrists and fingers. Let the chin fall side to side. Take a big stretch by reaching the arms back. And then curl in, arms around knees. Roll onto your right side. Take a moment to feel the effects of the practice on the body and the mind. And then come up to a comfortable seated position. Palms press at heart center. Let's take one final virtual breath in and out. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks so much for joining class. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. And as always, I am inspired by you. So write me a comment. Let me know what stretches you'd like to see in future classes. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.